Alan Dershowitz, prominent attorney and lifelong Democrat, leaves the Democratic Party. Now, how can this be the case? Why? He's a lifelong Democrat. He's announced his departure from the Democratic Party. He's a prominent figure. This is Vin News. Are there better sources on this one? What is this?
Let me check out the one I pulled up.
Vin News? I mean, yeah, I heard of this too. And so Dershowitz announces he's leaving the Democratic Party. Is there more news to that? Actually, I don't see any other sources. Does he have a tweet about it?
Well, apparently in 2016, he threatened to leave the Democratic Party if Keith Ellison became the chair. So I guess
there's a video
is something
of it.
he holds
There
over
were
everyone's
no
head.
fine people at the debate, at the standing outside of the convention center and screaming, Hamas will win, screaming, we are all Hamas, screaming, there was nothing wrong with October 7th. What's wrong with October 7th? Somebody said. No, there aren't fine people, and they don't make fine points. And so I was disgusted at the Democratic National Convention, absolutely disgusted.
We're speaking with Harvard Law Professor Emeritus Alan Avi Dershowitz. So are you ready to leave the Democratic Party?
Democratic Party. I am no longer a Democrat.
Wow, okay.
I am an independent. I'll decide who to vote for at the last minute based on totality of the circumstances. I want to see how they deal with Iran. I want to see how they deal if Iran attacks the United States. I want to encourage the current administration to support Israel. So I'm not revealing my vote until, maybe November 1st. Great to hear all the information, all the evidence, but I am no longer a member of the Democratic Party.
When did you resign the Democratic Party?
Well, gradually over time, I think a lot of things pushed me in that direction. Kamala Harris's failure to comply with her constitutional obligation to preside over the Senate and the House joint sessions for Netanyahu pushed me a lot over that.
Wow.
And what Joe Biden said pushed me over that. But
so the Israel thing's really interesting, too, with how crazy everything is. That I don't understand the political parties. Dershowitz is saying he's not a Democrat anymore because these protesters outside are praising Hamas, condemning Israel. Kamala Harris tries to play both sides in this debate. Like, they've tried to court the anti-Israel left. Is the right for Trump going to end up being overwhelmingly pro-Israel? Like, I don't. He's saying he's in the Democratic Party, he's an independent, so he's certainly not going to be voting for Kamala. He said she irked him. Is he going to vote for Trump? Is any candidate sufficiently pro-Israel at this point for anybody? For Democrats or Republican voters who are pro-Israel? I don't understand.
I think when you think of pro-Israel, you think more of a conservative than a Democrat.
Especially now, for sure.
Especially now. And just seeing all the things that they're saying, it's like, I don't know, just like the vibe of the Democratic Party is so extreme and violent and gross. I feel like it's kind of a similar thing of when people ask me, why are you not a feminist? It's like, feminists seem miserable and angry, and I don't know. I feel like he gets the same feelings from those people, and he's like, I can't be part of this. I don't want to be part of this.
There's a viral video where some guy walked up to these protesters, like there's two guys in a car, and a American hostage was killed, and the guy driving says that the guy deserved it. It's like, this is a guy who was at a music festival, had no idea what was going on, and gets kidnapped and killed. And there's a guy in a car. I guess it was in New York. I'm not sure where it was. I saw this video. It is insane to me that Kamala Harris would try to placate these individuals. Like, for what reason are you doing this, and what do you hope to gain? I don't know, man. It sounds like what Dershowitz is saying is that voting for Trump is the pro-Israel side. But there's a lot of people on the right who do not like Israel and who have said they would vote for Kamala because if Kamala came out as anti-Israel. So then it is like, what is this? Is the DOJ also anti-Israel? Is the deep state opposed to Israel? Donald Trump represents the anti-establishment candidate? I honestly can't figure this one out.
Dershowitz had tweeted in April that he would leave the DNC if they cut funding to Israel. And so I think this is just this ideological battle that is more prominent on the Democratic side of the aisle than it is on Republicans. There are Republicans who feel strongly about Palestine or Israel or whatever, but, it's not to the extent that Democratic voters do. And they Biden and Harris have both failed to message effectively because you'd have to take a definitive stance. I don't think that there might be some kind of compromise you could work out between these two sides, but I just really don't think so. And so everyone ends up unhappy, and you get people who are like, well, this is my issue. This is the thing that I will stake my vote on. Hasn't
Trump said that he's like the most pro-Israel president?
Yes, he did. Well, if anyone's going to, support Israel, it'd be definitely Trump.
So this is what I find absolutely wild. The Democrats absolutely are not the most pro-Israel, though I certainly think the deep state behind them is going to be pro-Israel. It's weird that I think if Democrats win, they're going to be funding Israel for sure.
They have no choice.
I think if Donald Trump wins, he's going to be funding Israel for sure. So it's like almost just the Israel thing is a foregone conclusion, but Dershowitz backing away from the Democratic Party over this is kind of just like, okay, I guess. Like, there are issues where the deep state and Trump and these factions are at odds, and it certainly is not Israel. I think no matter who you vote for, you're getting a well-funded Israel. That's not going to change. Interestingly, though, the Republicans don't want to fund Ukraine, which is much more interesting. They've been getting a lot more money. So I wonder what happens if Republicans win and what happens with Ukraine conflict.
Yeah. Do you remember at that town hall that Trump did? And she was like, Caitlin, what's her name, was pushing him about the Ukraine conflict. And Trump eventually was like, I just don't want people to die.
Right.
I just want it to be over. Like, it is interesting that you could be an anti-war voter and ultimately look at Trump and be like, he's more likely to end war. So logically to me, like if you were like pro ceasefire, you want the hostages returned, you want a complete ceasefire, seems like Trump would be the better negotiator because Biden's had all this time, he hasn't done anything, and Kamala won't commit to it.
I wonder, man, at this point in everything, I'm not even convinced that a vote for Trump is like I was saying earlier in the show, is going to end war. Like, I think we're entrenched to this point. I don't know how you recover or how you de-escalate from Ukraine invading Russia.
Like, we gave them too much money and assets to just stop them, to take it away from them right away.
I mean,
they have it, so they're using.
I don't know if you need to say too much. We gave them money and resources, right?
Okay, yeah, maybe not too much, right? Sure.
And so, with Ukraine invading Russia, what I find it substantially more difficult for Donald Trump to come in and negotiate an end to this, especially if Putin is utilizing the conflict to mobilize in his own country that they've been invaded. Trump's going to have a lot harder of a time going in and negotiating a stop to this because now it's not Russia invading Ukraine and giving anything up. It's Ukraine invading Russia.
Do you think that's why Zelensky did it? Do you think that like feeds into the timing of why he moved into Russia now, because he can see that time is running out?
Maybe it's to put the war in a position that can't be easily ended.
Yeah.
It like at this point, or I guess maybe the gambit is at this point, a negotiated end to the war, if Trump does win, is natural borders of Ukraine and Russia.
Maybe.
And
I just think if you're Zelensky, you make a lot of money on this, so you don't want it to be settled quickly. You need it to last a little bit longer.
All their government.
Yeah, but what's the point of making money if you don't have a country?
I don't really think that's what he cares about.
can move.
But I'm also very cynical.
Like after all of this, you think he moves somewhere else?
I think all their politicians who are stealing money can just bounce out somewhere.
Yeah, but Zelensky
Come to
as
America.
the president of Ukraine, I don't know that there is a after this. I mean, like Afghanistan was never ending, and it's still in conflict and chaos. Though we're not there. Like the Afghanis are a lot of like people who worked with the United States and translators just there, and they're in and a lot of them are dying and not getting evacuated or whatever.
I think Zelensky assumes that worst comes to worst, he'll live in exile in America, where he'll be a highly paid speaker who will tour, America, talking about, I don't know, being a strong leader and an actor.
On the cover of Vogue.
Living in exile.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like, there are options for him that wouldn't be true for Ukrainians who live on the ground in the middle of conflict.
I don't know how this conflict stops, even with Trump going in, without him giving up Sevastopol.
I don't know.
Didn't we not give them all the money? Like we we said they're going to get it, but we didn't send everything to them yet, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
I think it comes and goes in waves.
Don't we not track it either? Yeah. We don't know where it goes.
Nobody knows.
Very true.
Yeah,
what a crazy system.
And you can ask Kamala Harris about that. Again, ask her about what's your plan for that? You want to be in charge? Like, what is your specific plan for this? Mm-hmm. I feel like she, keeps everyone distracted talking about like abortion and talking about being a strong woman and that kind of stuff. And it's like she's dodging questions about this, about foreign policy, and about the border. And
For someone who really, really wants to be president, she's done very few interviews and given very few concrete promises. That seems sketchy to me, and 60 days out from the election.
It's not like everything's peaceful and you're going to become the president. Like, you have a war on your hands, basically, and you have no policy. You have nothing to say about that.
That's going to be really interesting on Tuesday.
Yeah.
What can she say about Ukraine? I just don't get it. Like the thing about it is, with these other wars we've had casus belli. We had 9/11. That rallied everybody to war. Ukraine, we've had nothing. For what reason are we spending money in this place? Russia's bad. Remember what Kamala said? Russia's a big country and Ukraine's a smaller country.
Yeah.
And so it was bad that Russia invaded. And it's just like, okay, now explain to me why that's our business. I suppose they could have. I think people watch the show know. Burisma, Energy, Gazprom, Qatar Turkey Pipeline, all that stuff. Can they not just say that? Can they not just say that Russia and its allies were trying to strangle out our means of conveying energy to our European allies, which was causing stagnation, recession, depression, death. And when we tried to counter, they blocked us and it led to war? I don't know.
That's too honest.
But what's wrong with being honest?
It's a good question. Nothing.
Great. Maybe the end goal of all these blind zealots waving Ukrainian flags is that now they're so blindly marching in lockstep, you can tell them the truth and they won't care about the morality of it. Like at this point, if the U.S. government came out and literally said to the Democrats, we were trying to build a pipeline that would compete with Gazprom to reduce the cost of energy because you see the riots that are happening in Europe. You see the cost of fuel. People were struggling, and Russia was using this against our allies, our neighbors, our friends. And when we tried to build a pipeline, we were blocked by Russia, who went to Syria and said, don't let them do this, which is anti-competitive. And it resulted in an escalation of conflict because they're strangling us out energy-wise. They could say that. And Democrats would be like, yep, we got to stop Russia.
I mean, that would be very nice if we got honesty out of our politicians.
Germany has issued a warrant for the arrest of a Ukrainian for blowing up Nord Stream 2. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.